Hello, welcome to Geek-Minded Fools. My name's Graham.
I'm Scott.
Welcome everyone to the second part of our review of 2016.
Yeah, and just to bring you all up to speed.
All things geeky.
All things geeky. Just to bring you up to speed, everyone, in the previous episode, which obviously you listened to, we were discussing the fact that we completely and utterly destroyed 2016.
We did.
With our lack of, well, basically being there. We were the absentee fathers of 2016.
Lack of podcasting. So yes, we abandoned you all and it shagged the year. So this is our penance.
Yeah, our purgatory, if you like.
Yes.
So without further ado, what the fuck else happened in 2016?
We will crack on. Well, the next thing we had on our list was the TV show The Flash,
which I wholeheartedly loved the first season of.
Yes, it was very good.
And then forgot it existed.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, Season 2 was, I would say, as good as Season 1. I still believe that the cinematic Flash should be Grant Gustin. I think he's a superb Flash. I think if you've established a character and it's this popular, because so many people love this show, he's absolutely nailed it.
I must admit, I mean, he's a character I know very little about, the Flash, and wouldn't have carried on watching the first season had it have not been for said actor, who I thought was just simply wonderful.
Yes.
He just seems like a lovely guy as well. And he plays the character absolutely perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, I say he plays the character perfectly. As I said before, I don't know the character that well, but he has created a character that I find to be quite a perfectly rounded character.
Yes. Now, in this season, the bad guy, the big bad, was Zoom, who came over from Earth 2. And of course, what happened in the first season was that the bad guy was the Reverse Flash. Mm-hmm. That, of course, turned out to be Harrison Wells. Spoiler!
No one saw that coming.
So he disappeared, but then Zoom had come over from Earth 2, and of course, on Earth 2 was another Harrison Wells, which allowed Tom Cavanagh, who I think is a great actor on this show.
He was wonderful, wasn't he?
Allowed him to come over with his daughter, Jessie Quick. Do you think she might turn into a speedster?
Definitely.
Obviously, for those who don't know, there is a character in the Flash comics called Jessie Quick, who's another speedster. When Barry Allen in the comics died, the Flash became Wally West, and of course Joe and Iris, their surname is West, and so Joe's long lost son Wally appeared as well. So suddenly we've got Jessie Quick and Wally West. So all these characters from the comics are coming in. We also met for the first time, I don't know if you remember, at the end of season 1 when the portal was open, the helmet came through, the metal helmet, which is obviously Jay Garrick, who was the original Golden Age Flash. And so in this season we met Jay Garrick, who came through and was helping them out, except it wasn't Jay Garrick at all, it was Zoom pretending to be Jay Garrick.
Giddy out.
And when they went over to Earth 2, there was this person there who was he had this sort of metal mask on, a bit of a man in the iron mask, and he was locked in this cage, and when they freed him, that turned out to be the real Jay Garrick. And who is Jay Garrick? He looks exactly like Barry's father from Earth 1.
Confused
and
much?
So now the only problem is that at the end of it, obviously we know that Barry's mother died, but then Zoom killed Barry's father, the real Barry's father from Earth 1. So Barry had lost both his parents. And so at the end of it, Barry decided to take the law into his own hands and went back in time to when the Reverse Flash killed his mother and stopped him. Right. And thus his mother survived. And so we started season 3, obviously this autumn, and the title of the first episode was Flashpoint. It begins with Barry living with his mother and father, and he's never become the Flash because they're both alive, but then he starts to see the ripple of time that's happening. So he goes back and allows the Reverse Flash to kill his mother, and thus when he comes back his parents are both dead, but so much has changed. So he's almost reset stuff, and people have powers that didn't before, and things have changed. Which
is a great mechanic for any TV writer, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. See, I don't like it, and I've discussed this with a couple of guys who watch it that I know from work, and I think that's the sort of stunt you pull in season 5 if you're starting to lose viewers.
If you painted yourself into a corner.
Yeah.
Alan Dallas.
I don't see why. Yeah,
Bobby in the shower, we'll call it.
I don't see why they did it now. It was completely unnecessary, and
Has it soured it a little bit for you?
I'm certainly not enjoying it as much. I feel that it's so much has changed. I mean, Barry is now working with somebody we've never seen before, and He's actually working with Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter.
Then I will definitely never be watching the show again, I'm afraid, because I cannot... What's his name? Tom? He's another Tom, isn't he?
Yes.
He's a terrible actor. He is a terrible actor.
And so, yeah, I just feel like they've messed with it for the sake of messing with it. For example, in Season 2, when they went to Earth 2, Caitlin, one of the team, was actually a bad guy. She was Killer Frost.
Right.
Which is a Flash villain. And when they've come back, suddenly Caitlin in Earth 1 has got Killer Frost powers. And Cisco's brother, who we know has been alive and has been in storylines, he's now dead and that sort of thing. So
the timelines are kind of melding.
No, the way that they've described it is that Barry went back in time and reset a new timeline. But then when he decided not to do it, he went back, and rather than putting him back on the original timeline, it's created a third timeline where things are completely different.
God, it sounds far too confusing for me.
Yeah, and it's just got a bit silly.
I mean, I do agree with you. I don't think you should really ever mess with timelines too early on.
No, absolutely.
And I mean, it's for that reason that I think now we should start talking about The Flash, seasons 2 and 3.
No!
You like that, didn't you?
No. Right.
Anything more to say about The Flash?
No.
Quite frankly,
other than
I don't care.
My worry is it's jumped the shark a bit, but time will tell. We shall see.
I wonder if people out there know where the phrase "jump the shark" came from.
I think most people know it's Happy Days, don't they?
Well, I hope so. But if they don't, do you not think it's our job to tell them where it came from?
Okay. There was an episode of Happy Days where Fonzie is water skiing.
And he has a bet, doesn't he? He takes a bet that he can literally
jump
a shark.
No, because the shark appeared.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and then basically Fonzie's water skiing towards the shark, and he had to go over a ramp, and he jumped over the shark, and everybody said that is when Happy Days became shit.
Yeah.
And therefore, something going from good to shit has been known as it jumping the shark.
See. Informative.
Yes.
That's what we are.
Educational,
geek-minded foolery.
Yes.
Go on, then. What happened next?
Well, what I'm basically going through is all the TV seasons that ended last year. So, not ended forever, but obviously ended their seasons. And we had Gotham season 2,
which I kind of vaguely remember in the back of my mind. A comment from you a long time ago saying something along the lines of, once fucking Fish Moody comes back, I'm not watching it.
Absolutely.
And she very much did come back, didn't she?
She has come back.
Did you carry on?
The trouble is she came back at the last episode of season 2.
Right.
And of course season 3 hasn't started on Channel 5 yet. So I'm not. But I mean, the thing about season 2 of Gotham was, I really liked the first half when it was about, the guy trying to be mayor. I can't remember his name, and that was really good. And he then got killed. And
Galavan, Theo Galavan,
yes, and then he got resurrected as Azrael,
which I thought was a very smart way of writing that character into a TV universe.
I just thought it was odd him being resurrected as Gargamel's cat.
Yeah, no, indeed. It was called Azrael, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And not obviously, for those of you who don't know, Azrael is a character called Jean-Paul Valley.
Yes.
Is that right?
In the comics.
Took over from Bats after he had his back broken.
Absolutely.
And was obviously the only iteration kind of Batman that did start killing.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so there you go. See, informative again. More information. You're learning. You're learning while we have fun, while we review.
Well done, you.
Well done, me indeed.
But then, I mean, I thought that the progression of the Riddler continued to be very strong. I thought he was still one of the standout characters. I'd say the only disappointing thing about season 2 was what I saw as the regression of Penguin's character, who obviously became sort of quite subservient and sort of almost became a good guy, but then sort of flipped out again and ended up sort of killing his adoptive family after he realised that they'd killed his real father.
Whereas I'll agree with you that there may have been a little bit too much of the subservient Penguin. I think we needed it in order for that moment where he does finally flip back to become the proper Penguin.
Yeah.
more impactful.
Oh yeah, sure, but
he's very good, isn't he?
But I just
Robin
felt
Lord
that,
Taylor.
the whole
absolutely brilliant.
The whole sort of journey of him sort of being reformed, I thought was stupid because, of course, the whole thing was about Arkham Asylum and Hugo Strange, wasn't it?
There's a touch of Clockwork Orange to it, wasn't there? Definitely,
yes,
as well.
Indeed.
But
yeah, and then it ended with Fish Mooney coming back. Not only Fish Mooney coming back, but coming back with powers.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just like, do you know what? Go fuck yourself. And then to hear about, season 3 where, Jim Gordon doesn't work for the police anymore, he's a bounty hunter, and you kind of think, sorry, when in the comics was Jim Gordon ever a bounty hunter?
Yeah. And
also, Jim Gordon's killed now. He killed in season 2, and I just think
he killed in season 1, didn't he?
Did he?
I'm pretty sure he did, down by the docks. Oh no, it was Theo Gallivant was season 2. Sorry, yeah.
That was the mid-season branch of season 2.
But he didn't kill, did he? Because he's...
No,
well, all right, yeah, fair enough.
He did kill him, but he was then resurrected.
Yeah.
So I
love that scene where they show Gallivant's body and he's got the umbrella shoved down his throat.
I mean,
that's brilliant.
I would be very surprised if there was a season 4 of Gotham.
I would be also very, very surprised.
I mean, the only way they could keep it going, frankly, is to suddenly jump forward 5 years and have young Bruce Wayne sort of feeding his way into becoming Batman.
Yeah. Do you know what I would have rather have seen?
Go on.
I would have rather have seen a whole season that was almost set out like the movie 7 with the Riddler as the big bad.
Right, okay.
I think that would have just blown everyone's socks off, because how good is he as the Riddler? He is amazing.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Massive Paltrow head. That's just my tick, sorry. Massive Paltrow head. Fish and chips. Moby Dick. I'm done now. My name is not John. My name is not John? Is that what it was called?
John's Not Mad.
John's Not Mad?
Yeah.
Well, they did a sequel to it. Well, I say a sequel. It was like I can't really sequelise that. Like, it was just like a follow-up. Was it called John's Still Not Mad?
I can't remember.
I think it was.
It was like Moby Dick.
Moby Dick.
Better fish fun.
Oh, Mum, this is a lovely bit of fish, Mum.
Fuck off! It just
fuck off.
Spits on her dinner.
I'm really, really sorry. I shouldn't make fun of that.
Moby Dick.
It's that for anyone who's interested, probably did see it if you're the same age group as us. Is about a young lad who's got Tourette's. Yeah. And John, if you're listening,
you're not mad.
You're not mad, mate.
Right. Next on the list, we have DC's Legends of Tomorrow, another DC TV show from the same stable as the people who brought you Arrow and The Flash.
Honestly, I can't help myself. I'm laughing already.
Go on.
What a pile of shit. Honestly, what was the meeting like for this when they sat down and went, right, okay, so we're going to do this show. It's called Legends of Tomorrow. All right, and what we're going to do. Oh, is that lunch? Right, let's go and grab lunch then. And then that's, I think, where the meeting left. Where they left the meeting, because they don't appear to have done any what you would call, I don't know, writing for it. I lasted for one episode.
I will be honest. This is why
that's a lie. Actually, I didn't even last the whole episode.
I'm watching it because it's lots of characters from the other shows. You've got characters from The Flash. You've obviously got Captain Cold and the other guy Mick. You've got the guys who are Firestorm. You've got some people from Arrow as well. But
who are the characters that have to meld together to become one? That's Firestorm,
yes.
Is it? What is that character? Where's that character from? Who's it?
It's from the comics. He's.
But that was a title in itself. Was it Firestorm?
Firestorm, the Nuclear Man.
Okay, never heard of the character. I don't know what the love for is for the character out there. I don't know if he's a very, very popular character.
This is it.
But the fact of the matter is, I thought it was the most unintentionally hilarious.
This is almost one of those shows where they've said, right, okay, we've got all these characters, and of course you've got Ray Palmer, the Atom, played by Brandon Rouse, and they're obviously thinking,
the only gig he could get after sucking cock in Zack and Miri.
We've got some good actors who are playing Z-list characters, so why don't we add them all together and see if it works? And the funny thing is, there are some episodes where I sit there and watch it and just think, God, why am I watching this? This is terrible. I mean, you're right, it's poorly acted.
Do you feel hateful towards yourself or towards them?
But then occasionally they will come in and there will be a really, really good episode which sort of, brings out the emotions and makes you go, oh, actually, this is really good because they get it right. And I would say in season 1, which was 8 episodes, 5 of them were absolute tosh. but 3 of them were actually really good and had sort of really good moments in them. And of course you had Rip Hunter, played by Arthur Darvill from Doctor Who, played Rory in Doctor Who.
Oh God, you've lost me, because I've never seen an episode of Doctor Who in my life. I don't
there
think.
You go.
There was a film that came out in the mid-80s called Misfits of Science.
Right.
I don't know if you remember it. It was, again, one of those films that I would watch religiously every other day. I used to love it. And I watched it probably about a year and a half ago.
It was shit.
And it was absolutely shit. And I tell you what, it's startling at quite how similar in kind of pace, character writing, and almost plot, it would appear, that Legends of Tomorrow is to Misfits of Science.
Right.
So if you want to save yourself some trouble, people, and you don't want to trawl through an entire season of what I think is going to be absolute dirge, just watch Misfits of Science.
Right.
It might not be 100% the same, but it's fucking nice.
I've enjoyed some of Legends of Tomorrow because of the characters. You know, sort of the characters have done well. On the whole, the stories have been absolutely dreadful. So, but they've just had a crossover, and it's sort of been more of the same really in season 2. They've just had a crossover between the 4 CW shows. So you had Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. And apparently that episode of Legends of Tomorrow was their most viewed, you know, had the highest viewing of any episode they'd had, obviously because of the crossover appeal.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad either, because it included the other characters. It had Supergirl and the Flash and that sort of thing. So, you know, it actually brought a bit more to the table.
Do you know what I think it is? I think bar season 1 of The Flash and a majority of Gotham, I'm not interested in the DC characters in a TV sense.
Yeah.
I don't think the DC TV shows, rather, not that they don't do it well, I don't think the DC TV shows have the same things to offer that the Marvel TV universe has.
Right.
Whereas I think the Marvel cinematic universe and the Marvel TV universe seem to be very near to one another.
Right.
Whereas the DC film universe and the DC TV universe seem to have this almost kind of fracture to them. I mean, very much so what you were saying about Grant Gustin not being Flash. And picking that other guy. Who is the guy who's playing him? The Bruce, you were right! The fuck is that? Yeah. Him.
I just think that Marvel have handled the crossover between the two well, you know, so they will have characters in cinema that also turn up in TV shows and vice versa, whereas DC have obviously said, right, TV wise, apart from Gotham, obviously they're going the CW route. They're going Greg Berlanti is exec producing a lot, so it is in the Berlanti-verse as it's called, and he's running that, but yet they want their cinematic output to be much darker, whereas Berlanti-verse, you know, which is your, you know, Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, Legends, because Supergirl has been very good as well. I mean, that was the next one on the list, and that again started off when I was watching it, and it kind of made me go, oh God, this is a bit lightweight and a bit. But
you had a tear-filled moment, didn't you, with Supergirl?
I did, when the guy played by God, I can never remember his name. David, English black actor David. Anyway, he was playing Hank Henshaw, who in the comics was the cyborg Superman. He was a bad guy, and therefore you're always thinking, oh, he's going to be a bad guy, and you'd sometimes see his eyes would flash red, and then there was a big reveal where Alex Danvers, who's Supergirl's sort of adoptive sister, confronts him, and it turns out he's Martian Manhunter, and suddenly to have an A-list DC superhero like Martian Manhunter, and it gave it a bit more credence.
Yeah. Do you think that with the DC universe they've actually got more scope, because not as many of their characters surely are licensed on film, are they? Because there's a lot more Marvel characters that are kind of, like for instance X-Men are with Fox, aren't they? And Spider-Man was with Sony, and whereas DC they've only really got bats and suits, haven't they? Really, that's it. Green Lantern obviously fucking died of death.
Yeah, but of course that's because DC is owned by Warner Brothers, and therefore no one else is ever going to make a DC film than Warner Brothers. Whereas of course Marvel Studios only came about with Iron Man. Before that they were just licensing them out, and so you would never have anybody else having a license for a DC movie other than Warner Brothers.
On the whole, what do we think? Legends of Tomorrow, is it going to run more than 3 or 4 seasons? Do you think it's going to die a fucking death?
The Berlanti-verse does seem to be very popular, so I would say that as long as the quality's there, Flash, Arrow, Legends and Supergirl are not going to be going anywhere, certainly for the next sort of 2 or 3 years. We'll wait and see.
Alrighty.
Right, next one we've got is a film that I don't believe you have seen, and that is Independence Day Resurgence.
No, I saw the first one.
Yes.
That's it. That's all you need, isn't it? Surely. I'm sure. Surely we said all we needed to say with the first movie.
I loved the first one,
and I hated it.
I thought it was just so cheesy and over the top. You've got Jeff Goldblum playing Jeff Goldblum.
I mean, that's a plus point.
You know, you've got
Randy Quaid.
Will Smith, Bill Pullman. You know, pulling in his great speech. It was just.
It is an undeniably brilliant America Saves the World movie. The first one,
absolutely.
I'll give you that.
And the second one, it's just more of the same.
It is essentially the same film, isn't it?
The aliens come back. They've got more improved weapons, and the trouble is, we as a nation in the 20 years since the last one, we as a nation, we as a world, have adapted the technology the aliens left behind. So we've got flying cars, and we can be in the moon in 20 minutes and that sort of thing. And we've built all these weapons in case they come back, but they come back and they're
the Transformers have been.
And they know what's going to happen, and it's just more of the same cheesy nonsense. Judd Hirsch is in there doing his business again.
Is he a taxi driver, perchance, Judd Hirsch?
He drives a school bus, but not a taxi.
Shame.
Brent Spiner, has a bigger part in this one. He's sort of like almost the comic relief in it. But
that's his Data, isn't it? Data,
yes,
sorry,
indeed.
from Star Trek.
But if you love the first one, you're going to love this one. If you hate the first one, you're going to hate this one. It is more of the same.
It shocks me that it took them so long to make it.
I
think that's probably where they missed the boat a little bit by waiting.
Will Smith's not in it, so they had to kill his character off. I mean,
he's in it in a photo, isn't he?
Yes.
The show photo. And is it his son?
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Fucking yawn.
So I think it's his adoptive son, isn't it? Because it's
why is he white?
Vivica A. Fox. It was her son, wasn't it? Who he just got together with in the first one. So I just really liked it. It was just cheesy fun. It's exactly the same as the first one, where you've got lots of different scenarios going on. So you're following all the heroes as they're going through their various bits. And spoiler, the good guys win in the end. We're taken down again.
And I'll tell you what, the funniest thing is, I thought we weren't even going to talk about this one. I thought we were going to cross this off the list. Because I've just looked at my list and it's crossed off.
That's because you hadn't seen it.
Of course, you're right. That's why I crossed it off my list.
Because you thought, fuck him, I've seen it.
I thought, fucking Independence Day.
About that.
I don't want any more resurgence, thank you very much. Yeah, it didn't appeal to me in any way, shape or form. And even if I'd have been a paid reviewer, I probably would not have bothered. I'd have called in sick.
I'm sure you would have done.
Do you know what? Films like that just do not do it for me.
I've
never done it for me.
You know that.
If I want to film with aliens, I want this to be.
I want it to be aliens.
Yeah, I want it to be aliens.
Yeah.
Effectively. Yeah, fuck that shit. Move on.
Right,
Come on, give me something I have seen.
Right, next up we've got X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, another X-Men film.
Yes, indeed.
So there's going to be a few films on this list, obviously, because I do not know what you thought of them.
No, which is good.
Which is really
good.
nice. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about what makes you say that. I have no idea why you would say that.
The snarl on your face.
What did you think of X-Men Apocalypse? How do you think they did with the third entry to the X-Men universe, or their X-Men universe, rather?
I obviously felt that in terms of the new universe, it was the weakest after First Class and Days of Future Past, both of which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Which is ironically massively foreshadowed, isn't it?
However, when you consider the critical panning that this got, I didn't hate it. What I tend to find is, if I go in with low expectations, I'm usually pleasantly surprised, and I found that with a lot of films this year, where my expectations have been so low that I've ended up not disliking it maybe as much as other people who've been looking forward to it.
But that really shouldn't be a rule, should it, in cinema? It shouldn't be. Do you know what? I'm going to keep my expectations low for everything from here on in. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying that I don't think filmmakers should fall into that trap of just going, if we just do enough, that should be just enough.
But I mean, things I thought were good. I liked Quicksilver. I thought Quicksilver going around and rescuing the kids from the
burning building,
the institute. I really liked that. I thought he was.
I thought it was fucking a joke.
Well, I could tell that. Look at your
that was absolutely terrible. That sort of thing works in the setup you had in the previous movie. Yeah, with him running around that small room. But I don't believe that he would have got everyone out of that building.
He didn't.
Well, he didn't, of course he didn't, because Stingy died, didn't he?
Havoc
died.
Yes.
But that's more the point. I don't believe he would have got everyone out of the building, apart from him, and then being as calm as he was on the outside, after we'd just seen him fucking about with hot dogs and scooping up fish and messing up people. Fucking, why is he messing up someone's hair? That really fucking wound me up. Because the scene in the previous film, no one's in danger. There's no one's at threat there.
Yeah.
It's a heist. It's an escape. Yeah. People could die here, and he's behind them, messing up their hair before he takes it. Oh, that'd be funny when I pull them out of this burning building. That'll cheer them up. Their hair looks all kooky. That was probably one of the worst scenes in the fucking film.
Because he's...
crazy.
No. Because he's young and doesn't yet know the fear of failure. I mean, you've only got to look at how he took the fact that he thought he'd rescued everyone. Yeah. He was cocky about it, and that was why he was doing the whole, I'm going to grab her, but then while it's still in the air, I'm going to have a swig of her can of Coke that she was holding. He's so brash and full of confidence that he just thinks this is a piece of piss to me. He doesn't take it seriously.
All right.
And that then is a journey for the character to see how he went from that to finding out he'd lost Havoc to how he was at the end when he finally became part of the team.
Havoc, that character that we got to love so much over the 3 movies.
But it's Scott's brother, and therefore
I know.
And therefore you felt the loss through Scott.
And that's
Scott had just lost his brother. Okay,
Scott Summers, yeah.
We've only just met Scott,
yeah.
But Scott Summers has just lost his brother Alex Summers that Quicksilver thought that he'd saved. And therefore, it's a kick in the teeth for Scott, it's a kick in the teeth for Quicksilver, and it's part of his journey as a character. And therefore, to me, him being like that whilst rescuing people, but also the fact that towards the end, and you say the building was on fire. It wasn't on fire, it was exploding. It was falling apart, and therefore you had explosions around them. And therefore, the last few, for him to be chucking bits of material like curtains on the trees, and therefore the last ones were actually, he'd sort of half thrown them out the window, and it was the explosion that carried them into those curtains that caught them. I thought was actually really clever. It sort of showed that
he'd thought through it.
Yeah, precisely. But in a completely, I'm going to save all these people way. And
as
usual,
that
he hadn't.
As fucking usual, yeah, you might have talked me off the ledge a little bit on that one. But it's alright because I've got plenty more fucking ammo for this one. I really have.
Good. You've got plenty more ledges.
Got plenty more. So, let's go back to Scott Summers, Cyclops. When did he become an absolute dick?
Scott Summers has always been a dick.
Not as much as a dick as I thought he was in this.
No.
He was horrible in this.
Yeah,
he had some horrible lines. He had some terrible... The guy who's playing him as well was awful. What are the chances of his fucking... His abilities, vamping out at the time when he's in a class about mutants, and they full on show you a picture of Magneto, don't they? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then he has to go to the toilet.
Who was teaching the class?
I don't recall. Who was it?
Ali Sheedy.
Was that Ali Sheedy?
Ali Sheedy was
You know why I didn't recognise her?
Because she's old.
No, it's because she wasn't doing a pencil drawing and putting down...
Yeah. Very good.
Thanks. Yeah, that. And then he has to go to the bathroom, doesn't he? Because he's obviously freaking out. Now, his kind of heat vision thing occurs. Yeah, it doesn't burn the toilet door off. It just shoots the door off and then burns everything else around it. I hated that because I thought, well, it would go through the door. It would have killed the bloke. It wouldn't have... And then I kind of had to talk myself off that ledge and just went, well, no, because it was just burgeoning. It was growing. The power was growing and it got more powerful.
What is Cyclops' powers? What are they called?
So is it a heat vision? Is it a laser vision? What is it? I don't know what it's called actually. Go on.
It's called an optic blast.
An optic blast. I did know what it was called.
And that's what it is. It isn't hot.
It's a blast. So it would go... right, okay.
And therefore, if it hits a door that's 3 feet in front of him, it's going to blow it away and blow the boat against the door. The only reason that it sort of tears through things is it's literally blasting through things. It isn't hot. It's a force. It's
okay. Oscar Isaac. Glad he was in it. What was the fucking point of that? He was absolutely pathetic as Apocalypse. He was like that big.
It was a poorly done Apocalypse. When you look at Apocalypse from the comics, which is a really good... I mean, it first appeared in X Factor, but it's a really good X-Men villain.
Yeah.
It was very badly underplayed. Yeah.
Throughout the entire film, he seems to use these powers that he kind of uses once, and then later on you're thinking, you do that thing again that you did earlier, because you could sort this all out now. If you do that thing... like there's one scene very early on where he goes... He actually kind of... It's some sort of dust thing that cuts people's necks, and then he makes someone go into the bit where the guy goes into the masonry is awful, but that power would have been really useful all the way through the film. Yet you don't see it again, I don't think, that particular power.
How cool, though, was the scene where Magneto is there with the police and they accidentally kill his wife and daughter by
With the arrow.
shooting an arrow. And he takes the locket off his daughter's neck and then just holds it and then just fires it through the necks of all the police like a bullet, and then it comes back to his hand just covered in blood. I mean, that was pretty fucking amazing. No, I hated that bit.
And you didn't like Deadpool. This is honestly no the whole conceit that Magneto would be hiding out and no one would recognise him. No one. Knowing that they're teaching about him in schools.
If you're griping about a suspension of disbelief...
I am in this film, and it's the first time I've ever done it with one of these films.
In a film where people have superpowers and they fly and control the weather and shoot optic blasts and control metal. If you're really...
I am, but I'll explain why. I'll explain why.
What I don't remember you saying in Batman vs Superman is how is it no one recognised Superman when he puts glasses on? You could see it's him!
Like that on Batman.
You're being ridiculous, and I'm disregarding that point.
The only reason I'm bringing it up with this particular film...
No, you can't, because I'm disregarding it. You're being ridiculous.
No, but the only reason I'm bringing it up
you aren't
with this
suspending disbelief,
film,
then.
No, but the only reason I'm bringing it up with this particular film is because the two previous
you didn't like
films...
the film.
No, the two previous films did it so well, and I think I was so let down by this one, not kind of keeping up with the Joneses, as it were, not kind of following its two predecessors.
Why is it Magneto? As soon as he has a wife and daughter, no one recognises him.
I just found it very odd. I found it very odd.
Would you have been happy if he was wearing glasses?
No, I'd have been happier if he hadn't have just been hiding out in plain sight. Because they're teaching about the mutants in the school, aren't they? And if they're teaching it in that school, surely they're teaching it in all schools. So surely there must be people who work in this foundry who have children.
The high school was in America. He was living in a small village in Poland.
I think you're right. I think I just didn't like the film.
You're being an idiot. You really are being an idiot.
I just didn't like the film.
And it sounds like I'm defending this film because I loved it. I didn't.
No.
There were certain bits in it, but frankly, some of the points you're making are utterly ridiculous.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's because I found the film so...
And boring.
So boring. That maybe I've tried to find things in it just to make something out of it.
Maybe so.
I think the biggest crime of the entire film, though, was they really wasted Nightcrawler.
Oh, I liked him. I thought it was alright.
Did you like him dressed as Michael Jackson with his Thriller jacket on? No. Did you like them walking out of Return of the Jedi
but
saying, the third one's always the worst one?
But then if you see
I didn't understand
Nightcrawler's costume that he's worn in comics since the beginning, if he was wearing that, you'd be like, why the fuck is he wearing that? So it's... Yeah, no,
that's fair enough. I mean, I didn't really understand how Nightcrawler couldn't get out of the cage. Because I didn't know that he couldn't like kind of what's the word, bamf. You can't bamf through electricity. I didn't know he couldn't do that.
Teleport,
and that kind of threw me a little bit. I was kind of like, you've got these two guys in the cage match at the beginning, haven't they? What's his name? Angel. Angel. Yeah, he can't bamf through this thing, and they don't explain that to you. But then later on, there's a scene where they're in fact, again later on, there's a scene where they're in the back of a helicopter, aren't they? After they've been captured.
Yeah.
And he kind of part explains it and says, there's some sort of electrical field that's stopping me getting out.
Well, no, that one, there was clearly a power nullifier. Because Jean couldn't...
She can't do her thing either,
and Scott couldn't fire the thing. And that's what the blue light was. And that's why none of them could use their powers there. But in the comics, the only limitation to Kurt Wagner's power is he can't teleport somewhere that he hasn't seen.
Yeah.
So therefore, if I had the power, I couldn't teleport into next door's lounge because I know he has to visualise where he's going to in order to get there. Whereas that didn't seem to be a limitation here because he would just teleport anywhere.
I also thought it was a bit of a waste of Storm. She's only got about 2 or 3 lines in the whole film.
Yeah, but it was more about... I mean, clearly they just needed to have some characters who were going to be the Horsemen.
Yeah.
And it was a good way of introducing her into the X-Men. So
for me... very much as they describe it in the actual film itself, the weakest of the 3.
What did you think of Weapon X?
So it was a bit shoehorned in.
Underwhelmed.
Yeah, really was. I don't think he even needed to be in there. We really didn't need to be in there, did he?
No.
I just thought, I mean, you're never going to get... Well, I say you're never going to get... You very rarely get a perfect trilogy of films, do you? Very rarely. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 2 and 3, of course. Amazing films. But I just didn't like it at all. It didn't sit as well as the first 2. I seem to remember when the first one came out, you were a little bit lukewarm on that until you'd seen it. Sorry, you were... What world am I living in? You were a little bit lukewarm on that the first time you saw it, am I right?
No.
Did you like it? I'm thinking of someone else then.
No, because I didn't see it at the cinema.
No, you didn't. I remember you bought it on
saw
DVD
it, yes.
in Sainsbury's when we went shopping for food one day when I came over. Because I've really liked the first two. I think First Class is an absolutely first class film. It is.
Absolutely.
I think that's probably what upset me the most about it, was the fact that it just wasn't as strong as its two predecessors. But I do take your point, and I think you are actually 100% right. I think maybe because I was so bored with it, I've kind of invented things to hate about it there.
Cool.
And I hate you for being right.
Right, next up, we have another one that I don't think you saw.
Go on.
Which is Star Trek Beyond.
No, I didn't. And I quite liked the other ones.
Yeah.
I just couldn't be bothered with this.
I'm not a massive Star Trek fan, but it's something fun to watch, and I watched it, and it was much like the other stuff. It was, they make a stupid decision, get caught up in a bad situation, and through fighting together they managed to get themselves out of it. I mean, this one, there was a very clever device whereby they had to go through this nebula, so therefore they were going to be out of communication with the Federation, because there'd been this alien woman turned up in an escape pod saying that a ship had crashed, they'd been attacked and the ship had crashed, and she managed to get away, and they had to go and see if there were any survivors, and it turned out it was a trap. And they went to this planet, and when they got through the nebula and got to the planet, there's this like a swarm of small ships that almost make up a big ship because they all work together. And they effectively tore the Enterprise apart. So first thing they did, they tore off the two sort of
the big
bits
wing
at the
parts,
back, almost sort of like the thrusters.
Yeah.
And then they were just sort of going through, and there were some good scenes where they were like going through and creating holes in the hull, so the guys on the Enterprise were getting sucked out into space. And then you sort of saw the leader, and they were saying, "Oh, they're starting to fight back," and he sort of says, "Cut off the head." And they sort of break up the dish thing on top and sort of break that away from the rest of the ship, and so they all have to get into escape pods, and some of them are captured. And the weird thing about it was the bad guy was played by Idris Elba. Now,
I didn't know that at all. Didn't even know he was in it.
Well, the reason you probably didn't know that is,
spoiler,
he spends 95% of the time under such heavy makeup and doing such a funny voice, you wouldn't know it was him. The only thing is, and again, spoilers, you find out at the end that they find an old Federation ship, and that's how they managed to get back off the planet. And it turns out that he was the original commander. It's only when you see a video that they find on board of them sort of the crew celebrating, you see him, and they work out that he's this bad guy, but he's sort of turned into a big blue alien looking guy. And it's only that and a very sort of brief scene where it's sort of his last captain's log that he recorded that you see him as Idris Elba. The rest of the time you wouldn't even know it was him, and I thought, what a waste.
It's a bit of a pointless.
Why have Idris Elba and have it so that you wouldn't even know it was him? And they sort of managed to find this character who manages to help them called Jailer. And
called what? J-Lo?
Jailer.
Oh, Jailer, right. Okay.
Jayla. The one bit that made me laugh is when Scotty's the first one who encounters Jailer, and she takes her to this old Federation ship, which is basically her base, and she puts on Fight the Power, this sort of rap song, and Scotty says, "Oh, I don't really know music, but this is a bit loud and distracting," and that sort of thing. And so when they finally manage to get off, and the swarm is going sort of to this main Federation sort of planet to attack it, and they're coming after it, and they say, right, okay, we need to find a way to disrupt the swarm. And they say, right, the only way we can do it is using a very high frequency. And they're going, right, if we can play a sound that will disrupt them, and they can't work together as a swarm, you know,
we'll throw out their
we're going to be disrupting their communications. And then they say, but it has to be loud and distracting. And all of a sudden Scotty says, we can play them some of this music. And so they say to Jayla, right, okay, we're going to set up this transmitter. We need to be writing this. Have to fly into the middle of the swarm. And then they go, right, Jayla, play it. And she goes, right, okay, we're going to put on something loud and distracting, Bob. And they put on Sabotage by the Beastie Boys. And they beat the bad guys using Sabotage by the Beastie Boys. Which is absolutely hilarious.
But it is, and it's quite something, really, because the Beastie Boys are very, very kind of selective as to who they allow to use their music.
Yeah.
So you know, whilst I haven't seen the film, I have no doubt that it's actually quite good.
Yes, it is.
I think again, this is probably one that I will tick off and put on my Christmas list to watch, because I think that'll be a Christmas film to watch.
It is stupidly entertaining.
Who directed this one?
Someone I've never heard of before. A new guy. Abrams exec produced.
He's exec produced.
I
like it. I like his use of music throughout the first two. So to hear that he's put some Public Enemy and some Beasties in this one, there's no surprise. I really like Simon Pegg as Scotty as well.
Simon Pegg co-wrote this.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh, well done him.
Yeah.
So now he's been in both universes, has he not?
Yes, he has.
Fabulous.
Thanks to that Abrams bloke.
Yeah, we like that. We like that a lot.
We do indeed.
Yeah.
Right, next up, we have the TV show Preacher, based on the comic book series that we both love. So, what did you think?
Well, I am sitting below a picture of said Preacher. So this was always going to be a big one for me, wasn't it? It was. I thought it made it easier to wait for Preacher to kind of roll around was the fact that we were very lucky enough to meet Steve Dillon. And I asked him, the one question I wanted to ask him, have you seen any of the Preacher TV show? And he actually did say that he'd seen the first episode, and that he felt it was very, very good and very kind of representative of the universe they created. So to hear that from someone who's directly involved, it obviously gives you a lot of hope, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To say I was thrown by it would be an understatement. But did I love it? Yeah. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was the perfect way to handle, for me, characters that I absolutely adore and had already seen them doing all these wonderful things in a printed universe. Mm-hmm. It was quite nice to see these characters kind of born onto the screen doing something you'd never seen them do before. Now, I know a lot of people hated it, and I know a lot of people really, really kind of were up in arms about the fact that, you know, this isn't Preacher, this is nothing like the Preacher I read. No, it wasn't, because it had never been done before.
No.
I know you were a bit lukewarm on it? Am I right in saying that?
Well, you and I had many conversations about this at the time, because I am such a fan of the comic book series, and therefore the fact that pretty much the three central characters deviated so much from their comic book versions kind of made me think, why have they done that? I mean, if there was ever a comic book series that was almost a word-for-word screenplay to be put onto a screen, be it a big or small one, it was Preacher. It was just perfect, and I don't know why they changed so much. I mean, how Genesis found Jesse to begin with. I mean, you saw Genesis flying through space and going past planets.
Which you were not a fan of, were you?
You know, I'm no believer in God and the Bible and that sort of stuff. But one thing I will say is, if there's a heaven, is it out in space? I
suppose people always refer to it as being up there, don't they?
But to me,
up there
down means it's sort of up
Infinite
there
space.
Above us.
Yeah.
I would almost think that sort of heaven is
somewhere between Earth and space.
You know, up in the sky in the clouds or something. You know, to see this thing coming through space, that's what made it seem odd. But the fact that it was searching for people, and if it went into them and didn't like them, it made them explode, including Tom Cruise.
Which I loved.
Yeah, of course you did. To me, that was odd. It sort of immediately deviated from the comics. But Jesse was played completely differently in his history and his demeanour. Tulip was completely different in terms of motivations and
in terms of everything,
characterisation. And Cassidy, this whole introduction to him was him working on a plane, and there was these sort of people coming after him. In fact, both Tulip and Cassidy both had these organisations that were after them. She obviously took down a helicopter with a made-out rocket launcher, and he was attacked on a plane and had to sort of jump out of a plane and sort of exploded when he hit the ground and had to eat a cow to get himself back together again.
Did you like the scene in the plane, though?
No, because knowing him from the comics, and he's always this scruffy denim jacket, you know, white t-shirt kind of guy. To see him all dressed up as like a bartender on a corporate jet just didn't sit right with me. You know, and I said that to you when I saw the trailer. I thought, why is he dressed like that? Why is he doing that? You know, we've never seen Cassidy look like that. But also the amount of time he seemed to spend outside, and all he had to do was put on a big floppy hat and a pair of sunglasses and a blanket. And it's like, if you're a vampire, then it isn't just direct sunlight. Just
in the books. If he ever needed to go, it was in the back of the truck with the tarpaulin over him.
Precisely, and that was odd. And then what they seemed to do was have this sort of small town where everybody from the comic that they met on their road trip was already there, So Arseface was already living there, with sort of Sheriff Root and Otis Quincannon. All these characters that they met as they travelled around America suddenly all lived on their doorstep, and it was almost sort of trying to be a bit Twin Peaksy in as much as sort of having these odd characters, and kind of didn't sit right. There were some bits I really liked, and I said to you, funny enough, the one character that early on I liked the most was the one character that wasn't in the comics, which is the woman who worked with Jesse in the.
She was a brilliant grounding character
absolutely.
In order to kind of she was us.
Yes,
basically
that's right.
She was our eyes, and that was very.
She was the normal thing within this sort of crazy, messed up town, and
that's what makes the whole scene with her killing off, feeding Thingy to Cassidy so much more impactful. Knowing that she could just go. Yeah, I could kind of kill two birds with one stone here.
Yeah, but on the whole, I thought, okay, this is okay. And then it got to the end, and I just felt the ending was really disappointing.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a real shame.
So, but I think I'm probably so close and so beloved to the source material that any deviation of that would have lessened my enjoyment of it. But there was so much deviation from it. I was always setting myself up for a fall.
I think this is a particularly interesting one, purely for the fact that you would have read Preacher as it came out.
Yeah.
For me, I came to Preacher again a number of years after it had come out, but I wholeheartedly believe it is my favourite comic book invention, creation ever. I genuinely think it's one of the best pieces of literature in our lifetime, and I genuinely do mean that. I make no bones about it. I think it is perfectly written. I think the characters are perfectly drawn, perfectly made, perfectly. I cannot layer enough praise on it, and I know you kind of feel the same about it. So for us to have such juxtaposing kind of opinions of the TV show, I think is insanely interesting. Purely for the fact that one of the arguments you brought up at the beginning was that they have deviated so far from the characters. Whereas in my mind, they haven't deviated at all from the characters, because at this point in their lives, we'd never met them. And they become those characters in the book that we see. And I'm not saying that to try and kind of, make it all right in my head. That's just how I perceived it.
Right, okay.
But again, on the whole, I thought every episode was a winner. I thought Dominic Cooper was brilliant as Jesse. But then really liked Thingy as Cassidy.
But then we saw Genesis in the comic. We saw Genesis find Jesse.
Yeah. Okay. So there are a few things that were kind of shoehorned together or mashed together at the beginning. Yes, admittedly. I thought Joseph Gilgan as Cassidy was just brilliant, and I mean just brilliant. So much so, obviously, I'm proudly rocking his haircut. I have been for quite a while. I was gutted when I found out you didn't like it, or didn't like it as much as I did. Anyway. And I genuinely mean that. There's very few things that I ever kind of go, I'm glad you didn't like that. But this one, I was quite upset that you didn't like it, because I really thought you would. It's not for everyone.
Absolutely.
And we've still got the book. Much like Bruce Campbell said when the remake of Evil Dead came out. If you don't want to watch this, you still got the old one on the shelf. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I am holding out a lot of hope for season 2, though. I think it's going to get batshit crazy. So fingers crossed.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Right, next up we have the DC movie Suicide Squad.
What a load of rubbish.
Yeah, terrible.
Absolutely terrible. No one can play the Joker again. Heath Ledger's done it. No one can ever play the Joker again. Who are these people? Who do they think they are? Who do you think you are? Who is this? What did you think?
Liked it. Yes.
Loved it.
I felt it was light on plot, but it kind of needed to be, because all this was establishing the characters.
Exactly. There's a lot of characters to establish.
Precisely. Getting the characters out there. They're having to do for a team what Marvel did in terms of the Avengers, in terms of everybody having their individual films, so you knew about them all, whereas, DC are coming from a standing start. I mean, the one thing I was kind of thinking, oh, God, how's that going to sit, is Will Smith. as Deadshot, and I thought he was superb.
It was great, wasn't he?
He was really good.
Really good. But and for all those people in the media and the press who say Will Smith can't play as part of an ensemble cast, what a load of rubbish. He was brilliant. He's a team player. He perfectly executed, being part of a team in this.
I mean, quite rightly, Margot Robbie's got all the plaudits for Harley Quinn. I thought she played that superbly well. I enjoyed things like when the Enchantress towards the end gave them all their views of their perfect life, and hers was being married to the Joker, or when he's not the Joker, when they're both looking normal.
Well, surprisingly, looks a lot like Jared Leto.
Yes. And I thought that was really cleverly played, and I liked the flashback to her when she was the psychiatrist to the Joker and sort of her journey.
There's kind of a little bit of a double edge to that. That just to stay on that scene, that flashback scene, particularly her flashback.
Yeah, she's
the only one out of all of them. This is a film I've watched a lot now. I've seen it quite a few times. She's the only one out of all of them who actually knows that that's not real.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that is brilliant. Yes. It so shows that she's completely and utterly unhinged. In fact, in some ways, more unhinged than the Joker even. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
If there was a criticism, I would say having the Enchantress as the big bad at the end was a bit weak. Wasn't that much of a challenge, really.
But again, as we said at the top, it doesn't matter who the big bad is in this. This is about the team, and all they needed was a goal.
Absolutely,
that was the goal for this film.
And you look at some of the heroes that are in there. These guys are put together because they're the baddest of the bad.
No, the worst of the worst.
So you've got Deadshot will shoot anybody for money. Harley Quinn is just a nut job. But you obviously got sort of Rick Flag there as the good guy leader who's trying to pull them all in line. But then you sort of get down to some of the other characters, and I would say particularly Captain Boomerang. I mean, Jai Courtney,
who I hate as an actor. I think he's the most appalling actor.
An odd choice to have in the bad of the bad. So if you're sending these guys in against the nastiest people out there, how much of a threat is a guy who throws boomerangs really going to be?
Yeah.
That kind of seemed a bit odd, but of course, these are guys that they've pulled in from the comics team. So.
But then again, we also had Slipknot, who is kind of blink and you'll miss him.
Yeah, I know precisely, but that's why I didn't mention him. And then you obviously Katana as well,
who I really liked.
And I thought him characterisation wise was probably the weakest as well.
What Captain Boomerang?
Yes.
Yeah. Captain Boomerang, I think, is probably Jai Courtney's best performance in any film he's been in. And as I said before, I do not like him as an actor. I think he's a pretty appalling actor. But I did see an interview with him before Suicide Squad came out, and he'd been speaking to David Ayers, the director, and wanted to kind of get a handle on the character of Captain Boomerang. And he kind of explained to him, well, he's just, he's a bit just of like a redneck kind of thing. And I don't know if you know the word a bogan. Do you know what a bogan is?
No.
To be a bogan is kind of like an Australian redneck, or what we would call a chav or a pikey. Right. And he's just like, oh, so he's just a bogan then. And obviously him being an Australian, he gets it. And I think he really does get the character. He's basically just a drunk. He's just someone who will do absolutely whatever you tell him as long as he's going to get something out of it. And he doesn't care who he stabs in the back. I think that's the only reason he's there. He's just, they're all expendable, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I really liked, what's his face? I can't remember the actor's name who played El Diablo.
Oh, yes.
I thought he was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, really good. The character that he played in the film was obviously somebody who didn't want to have his powers anymore because he knew it was wrong, and he'd killed his family. And I just thought that was a really nice little tiny thing to have off in the corner, especially in that as you say, in that big ensemble cast. But as a film itself, I think yes, you're right. Margot Robbie, did steal it, didn't she? As Harley Quinn, equally as much as I think Will Smith did. The funniest thing about the whole film is the fact that I don't think you'd have noticed if Jared Leto was in it. Wasn't in it.
No. I agree.
I don't think he was a bad Joker.
No.
I love the scene between him and Common when he's Monster T, I think the character is he's playing, and obviously he's kind of almost offering Harley up to him, isn't he?
Yeah.
But again, this being a film I've watched quite a number of times now, and I watched a couple of little YouTube videos about it. One thing that you don't really get about that scene is you don't know it, but you're supposed to be led to the belief that they've done exactly what they're doing to Monster T 10 or 15 times before, because if you look up her arm, she's got all the wristwatches on her arm of all the guys that she's done before. I think that's a really nice little touch. And my God, she is beautiful, isn't she? Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen anyone quite as stunning on the screen. It's the first time in a long time I've actually had a proper kind of movie star crush. Oh, it doesn't hurt that it's Harley Quinn and I absolutely adore that character. But yeah, what a great film. What a great fun film. And I must say, what a great soundtrack. Really, really good. Yes, a band that I'd never heard of called 21 Pilots do a track on it called Heathens. And it is such a good track. Really, really good. Get the soundtrack, people. Get it.
Yeah, very good. Right. Well, I think that'll do for the second part of our 2016 review.
Indeed, because I don't want us to end this one on Empire Strikes Back kind of note, knowing what came next in the year.
Indeed. Absolutely. Right. So, for Geek-Minded Fools, I've been Graham.
And I've been Scott.
Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.